Every day means every day, but today I have a question for you. Have you ever felt like life is unfair? Have you ever felt like you deserve more than the life that you currently live? Have you ever felt like you've been put at a disadvantage? Maybe something happened to you when you were younger, or maybe somebody took advantage of you, or maybe you made a mistake and it wasn't even really your fault, but you took the blame for it. And now you feel like you're dealing with the repercussions and those consequences have set you back and you didn't really deserve that. Have you ever felt like other people have a leg up? Have you ever felt like other people are just more talented, or maybe they're better connected? They have more resources. They were just born into the right environment, the right family, the right connections. Have you ever felt like life is just a little bit unfair? And I ask you that question because I certainly have. I mean, I'm an introvert. I grew up with horrible social anxiety and struggled with depression and hated talking to anybody. So when I found the speaking and coaching industry, I thought this mustn't be for me because I'm at such a disadvantage. I hate talking to people. I'm not very articulate. I'm not very confident. So surely I'm at a disadvantage in this industry. Even in my gymnastics career, those of you who follow this channel know that I was a gymnast for pretty much my entire life, and I ended up getting cut from the team that I worked so hard to get myself on. And I just felt like some other guys didn't actually have to work as hard as I did, and yet they were even better. So they worked less hard, but they got more results. Why? Because they were more naturally talented. So I've certainly felt like life is a little bit unfair at times, but I think that there's a very beautiful lesson in this. As unfair as life is, in the sense that we all are dealt different circumstances, different situations in life, different challenges in life, different tests throughout life that mold us, that force us to grow, that change us into the person that we're constantly becoming. We all have different scenarios in life, and on the surface that might look a little bit unfair because you might think that somebody has it a little bit better off than you do, or that you maybe have it better off than somebody else that's less fortunate. But in a strange way, life is supremely fair. It's abundantly fair. It is brutally fair. And the reason I say that is because life does not make concessions for your atrocities. You might want to write that down and meditate on that. Life does not make concessions for your atrocities. What do I mean by that? Well, if you grew up in an environment where, let's just say you grew up in foster care, and you have dreams of becoming a brilliant singer and making it in the music industry, conventional wisdom states that it takes about 10,000 hours to become really, really good at something, whether you're talented or not. Now, obviously, talent helps out and it gives you more of a starting potential, a higher capacity, but everybody needs to put in about 10,000 hours to be really, really good at something. And you might say, well, this other person who grew up with these multimillionaire parents, and they stayed together and they put them in singing lessons from the time they were a little child, and they got them the best vocal coaches and they got them the best instruments to play, and they had all these resources, and they had like the very first MP3 players that ever came out, and so they had the backing tracks, and just the whole setup was perfect. They built a home studio in this child's house so that they could grow up and be a professional singer. And then you grow up in foster care, you don't have any of those resources, and you say, wow, this is really, really unfair. But on the surface, it's unfair. But if you look a little bit deeper, both people still have to spend 10,000 hours. Now, one person definitely had a leg up in their ability to execute that 10,000 hours earlier, maybe more efficiently. But both people have to spend 10,000 hours to accomplish that dream that they have. I don't care what industry that you want to make it in. I don't care what sort of success that you want to experience in your life. It's going to take time. And the point of this video is that it takes what it takes. The price is the price. The price is non-negotiable, and the price does not care how you feel about the price. See, a lot of people think that life is unfair because the starting points change. And while there's some truth to that, and the starting point for everybody is a little bit different, I will argue that everybody's going through their own go-through, and it's the most serious thing to them. Even if you'd love to trade places with them, they're still struggling just as much as you're struggling with whatever it is that you're struggling with. That's a little bit of a tongue twister, but I think you understood what I mean. My point is this. It takes what it takes. The price is the price. The price is non-negotiable, and the price does not care how you feel about said price. The world does not make concessions for your atrocities. Just because your dad wasn't in your life, or because you grew up poor, or because you're not very good at reading, or because you weren't very talented, the standard is still the standard. And I believe that we live in a world these days where people think that the best is the standard. Like your best somehow, some way ought to be equivalent to the standard. Like if you can't hit the standard, as long as you do your best, it's okay. It's not really true. The standard is the standard. Your best is not the standard. The standard is the standard. What's required is the standard. And just because it's difficult for you, just because you have growing to do before you can hit that standard, doesn't really change the standard. So what I want to do today is encourage you that life is a little bit more fair than you might think that it is. Everybody's starting point looks a little bit different, but I believe, truly, we all start from the same place in the grand scheme of things. We're all fundamentally flawed human beings trying to make our way in this very brutal world. So in that regard, whether you're rich or poor, no matter what you are, whether you're athletic, whether you're lame, it doesn't matter. You still kind of fundamentally just start out as a human being with a lot of potential that's trying to figure out how to make the most of it. And in that way, life is exceedingly fair. In that way, life gives an extraordinary amount of chances to all of us. And at the end of the day, life is not going to change its standards for what is required for success and whatever it is that you want because of your past, because of your history, because of your circumstances, because of your situation. So it is far better, I would argue, it is far better to analyze your situation, be real and honest about where you're at, and make a plan to achieve the standard. Don't beg and plead that the standard decreases to your level. Figure out a way to grow until you're able to reach the standard, because the standard is not going to change, but you can change. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time. Don't forget, every day means every day.